The Tricky Triangle, not so tricky if you're named Denny Hamlin or Legacy Motor Club. We break down the full weekend of events here at Pocono Raceway next, right here on the Backroad.
Welcome into the Backroad live from Pocono Raceway. We wanted to have our nice and majestic shot of the grandstand start-finish line like we brought you the last couple of years. It's pouring outside, Seth, so we are inside the media center in one of the interview rooms. Elliot Hicks, Seth Woolcock, again live from Pocono, where moving the race up by 2 hours today was the right decision, because as we sit here right now, the race would still be going on. Well, it wouldn't be because we'd be in a rain delay, but getting all the laps, all the miles in, we got a full race today, and it was a good one, Seth.
Hey man, credit to NASCAR, credit to Pocono Raceway and their staff for getting this race in. I know it caused for an early morning for a lot of people. You and I, we had a late night, we were up early, but it certainly paid off, not only on the betting cards, but also for all the wonderful racing we got to see today at the Tricky Triangle, Elliot.
Some things certainly are inevitable, like long nights for us in the media center when we come to Pocono, and Denny Hamlin is inevitable. What's the one thing that I said on the show on Thursday when we finally got it rolling? Was if I'm certain about one thing this week, it's that Denny Hamlin is going to win at Pocono. And that's exactly what happened. That's why I laid down so much coin on him. Very profitable weekend, even without everything else that we'll touch on. But Denny Hamlin, he was able to get his third win in a row. Not just that, but it's the first time since 1981 when Darrell Waltrip won 3 in a row from the pole that somebody's done that. So Denny Hamlin, 3 in a row from the pole. Even though 2 of those he had to start the back anyway, still shows just what an absolute heater the 11's been on lately.
Well, and Elliot, it was a day where Denny dominated, but he dominated quietly because we had Kyle Larson come out in the first 10 laps. Denny actually came on the radio, told his spotter to relay to Larson's team, hey, I don't like how the number 5 raced me here going into 1 right off the rip there. And then for those first 10 or so laps, Larson pretty much was the fastest car on the track, but it only took until about lap 12, 13, 14, those mid-teen laps, and Ty Gibbs and Denny Hamlin, the entire JGR stable, started to show their speed. And once Denny Hamlin, later in stage 1, was able to track down Larson, there wasn't much competition from the Chevys head-to-head. Later in the race, we saw, of course, Chase Elliott get up there, race him, but Denny Hamlin, of course, passes him late when he needs to put himself in position to pass him going into stage 3. We'll talk some more Toyota speed later in the show, but Denny Hamlin, dominant day overall, and it was a lot about the execution, Elliott, too. Don't make mistakes on pit road. Don't jump restarts. Those types of things that have bit the old Denny Hamlin, they are not biting the 2026 version of that number 11 team.
Yeah, I think it was pretty clear to everybody that Denny Hamlin was the best car. He was the dominant car, but not in the sense of he led all the laps. You have the alternate strategy at Pocono, and that was a discussion late in the race. But first, Denny Hamlin, 8 wins now at Pocono, more than any driver. We talked to him about what makes him so good at Pocono, what he likes about the on-track stuff at the Tricky Triangle.
But, it's just I found speed here when I was a rookie, following Mark Martin for 5 laps my rookie season. I had no idea about this place. I thought that he was the right guy to follow. Followed him, passed him on lap 6, and thought, well, okay, I think I got this place figured out. And then from that point on, we've won a lot of races. So it's just I just approached the place the same way every time, and it's worked.
The 11 car did only lead 28 laps today, but still cashed the ridiculous amount that I had on him. The bets were pretty solid, of course, with Hamlin. Cashed some Hamlin parlays. You had a Hamlin parlay as well with Tyler Reddick for a top 5. But some of those placement props, they were almost all for naught because Christopher Bell, late in the race, racing on a broken wrist, basically driving the car with one arm. They play an alternate fuel strategy. And I think it was the last lap, 2 to go, that Bell finally runs it out. They almost were able to pull it off. The 20 car ran in the 20s all day, ends up finishing P26. But Christopher Bell almost stole one here, man.
It was a gutsy call for a team that was running 20th plus the entire day. I said this morning as we came into the tricky triangle, hey, I'm looking at a way to fade Christopher Bell. Couldn't really find him out there in matchups. I felt like the books kind of pulled him down, knowing maybe he didn't have the best speed. I went to the prediction market, so faded him and not to finish top 10. Should have bet not to finish top 20 as well. That would probably would have been some good plus money there too. But in addition to Bell falling out of the top 10 with pitting there late in the race, it actually gave me my Ryan Blaney top 10 cash as well at minus 112. So good stuff there. And like, you have to credit Bell and this entire 20 team that is a move you have to make. You're running 20th plus anyways. You are a lap away from potentially winning this race. And if we get a yellow there late in that race, Elliot, Bell's got a real shot to win.
Yeah, he would have been able to save enough fuel under a caution and still almost was able to pull it off anyway. Like you said, though, him running out of gas helped hit your not to finish top 10 and the Ryan Blaney top 10. Both race day ads, I think you mentioned
yes,
that,
sir.
But just to clarify that's 2 years in a row. This show is able to hit some big gainers on the morning of race day.
That's what we do, man. We come here every single weekend and we try to observe, we try to talk to these drivers, we try to get all the information we can to improve our betting card heading into Sunday. I know you were a little bit light on race day ads today because you already were so heavily invested in Hamlin. We had some great numbers that we'll talk about later as well, but that is the point of these videos. Yes, we like to bring you all the content here, whether it's the fun fan interactions, whether it's the driver interviews, but more than anything, we are trying to learn for ourselves and for those other NASCAR bettors out there to improve our slips heading into Sunday.
Bell having to pit also cashed my parlay that I had with Hamlin. Hamlin top 3, Kyle Larson top 5, ended up 5th after Bell had to pit. Other bets that I hit, like you said, I didn't add anything this morning because I already had a pretty hefty card, and a lot of them hit. Chris Buescher top 10 minus 170. He was the one RFK car that didn't have terrible luck this weekend, which we'll touch on later. The group bet with Daniel Suarez, it was touch and go. He and Cindric late in the race right next to each other. Suarez passes Cindric late. That one cashes at a 2-1. And I bet 3 matchups this week, and they all hit. The 5 over the 12. And Larson, we talked about Larson a little bit, had some inspection failures this weekend, lost pit selection, lost his coach.
That hurt him.
But
He was pitting right behind Cody Ware, so luckily there was a little bit of communication there where it didn't seem to be an issue, but it does seem like, after that first run, he lost a little bit of speed, and I don't think the pits helped him by any stretch of the imagination as well.
No, not at all. But still did well enough to finish over Blaney. I had Ty Gibbs over Chase Briscoe minus 105, and then Jones over Keselowski plus 120. I haven't looked at the matchups contest as what you had, Chris, or anybody else, but I know I got one on the board this week with that, so I'm looking forward to that. But it wasn't just the bets that made this a great weekend for us. The bets made it a great weekend, for sure. But it wasn't just that. Everything about the Pocono Raceway this weekend was a great time. Denny Hamlin also touched on that post-race.
Well, it's a good thing we don't race here twice a year anymore, I guess. But I wish we did. I think the place has earned it. Sold out grandstands 4 years in a row. I come here Saturday morning. The infield, there's a line going in. It's packed. This place has just absolutely mastered the fan experience, and it's a testament to the staff here, the ownership here is just doing a phenomenal job of treating the fans the right way, and that's why they're coming out. And so I wish we got to race here more, but I'm selfish, and it's more for on-track reasons because we do have so much success here.
Denny said it best there. The Pocono Raceway, just absolutely spectacular. Definitely one of the better vibes, the better facilities. One of the best places that I feel like the Cup Series goes. Yeah,
and it's become a staple, especially, we were talking about this back in the day when I first started coming to Pocono, and you did as well when we were growing up. The races towards the end of it were not as heavily as attended as they are now when there's just one race weekend, where there's just now one Cup Series race as well. Of course, we went through the doubleheader phase as well, but Pocono, from the amazing staff they have here, it is one of the last independent-owned tracks out there on the NASCAR Cup Series circuit, so I think that certainly brings fans. But as Danny talked about, man, the fans, they show out in droves. You got to get here early. The traffic coming off I-80 is not the best, but folks, we're veterans in this game. Elliot and I were up to the ass crack of dawn trying to make sure we were here. So the track and everything it brings, and even the racing. It was tougher to pass. That right side tire didn't actually seem to really help anything with the passing. I thought maybe it would. It did not, but the product on the track is still good, and it's one of the last places that you can actually see like cars and what their speed does and how far it puts them apart on the track, and they can gap each other. We talked about what would this track look like if there was no stage break. Well, Denny Hamlin might lap the entire field, right? So, but overall, just a fantastic weekend, fantastic venue, as Hamlin and you alluded to.
And thankfully, again, we were able to move the race up. Made it a pretty solid day weather-wise, too. And you mentioned a pretty good cell service as well. We're able to communicate from upstairs and downstairs, where we're able to separate and get the best content for everybody.
Yeah, Cricket Wireless was swinging a hot bat today, man. Let me tell you what. I was streaming the race on pit road when I eventually went down. I usually watch up in the press box. You're kind of down on the pit road getting the B-roll. I'm up top kind of letting you know those updates on strategy, letting you know those things you don't have in your ears. So, I don't know what was going on, but all of a sudden 5G is rocking and rolling, so I appreciate that as well.
Shout out Cricket, and with the traffic, shout out Arrowhead Lake, and shout out good old Stony Hollow Road.
Yes, sir.
All right, so back to the racing now. Legacy Motor Club was a topic of conversation all week. I was on both of their top 10s. They've had a really good couple of weeks and have been really good at Pocono, but they were really good today. I mean, the 42 and the 43, John Hunter Nemechek and Erik Jones, they ran near the front all day. John Hunter Nemechek didn't just lead the most laps of his career, leading 42 laps. He led the most laps in the race.
Yeah.
JHM finishes P4. Erik Jones finishes P6. A stellar day for Legacy Motor Club, and we were able to chat with both John Hunter and Erik post-race.
Best day as far as laps led in your Cup Series career, also a solid top 4 finish. Was this your best day as a NASCAR Cup Series driver?
As far as leading laps and stuff, yes. I felt like we executed the race really well. Felt like we had the most potential that we've probably had in one of our cars for sure. But overall, I feel really good about the finish today. Really proud of the effort from all the men and women at Legacy Motor Club. Proud of the effort from everyone back home at the shop. But overall, just pumped on a 4th place finish after the last few weeks that we've had with fast cars and not being able to paper those results. So excited to keep the ball moving and pushing into the right direction.
Erik, man, we talked yesterday about how good the vibes were around the club, and I'm sure that only continues now. Both of you guys running up front all day, both ended up with top 6 finishes.
Yeah, it's nice. The 42 to finally get the result. They've been fast and haven't been able to put the race together, so happy for them to get some momentum rolling. But for us, it was just a good day, just clean. Nothing great, nothing really bad, just a good day. So everybody executed well. I thought we finished the best we could. I thought we were a little better than a 5 at the end, but it was really hard to pass. So good to keep the momentum rolling. We got 2 challenging weeks ahead in San Diego and Sonoma that we really gotta hammer through and get a result out of both of them. So proud of the effort, and hopefully we can keep it rolling.
So obviously in a perfect world, one of them takes home the checkered flag with the speed that they had today, but being able to pull this off and continue the great run for Legacy, they both were pretty happy with that.
Yeah, they certainly were, and it just goes to show how much this program has come along. We had a big feature last year at this particular track with John Hunter Nemechek. We hit some big 8-to-1s that was still left out there from FanDuel a year ago. You hit this year the 10-to-1 on him pre-flop. I was thinking maybe we would get the same result where if I saw the speed on Saturday, he qualified as well, that we would also get some good numbers out there. We did not. It was completely tanked. I mean, you're seeing plus 130s, plus 110s out there for JHN. Yep. Erik Jones pretty much heavy minus money in every matchup, heavy minus money in the top 10 market as well. So congrats to you for being early there. That is what we call closing line value, ladies and gentlemen. And Elliot, you certainly had it. And I only have buyer's remorse for not coming because they were the story last year, and I think they're the story this year as well, despite what Hamlin did, because we also tracked very closely teams like Spire Motorsports that just did not have that full-length speed. They were quick on restarts. Daniel Suarez had a great stage 1, but never ended up getting back into that track position where he could really mix it up. Had to make a late pit before a restart because he wanted some fresh tires. But Legacy, the entire day, held on to speed. Erik Jones, I mean, you look at average running position after this race, I guarantee Erik Jones is probably inside the top 5, 5.0 or less. Same with John Hunter Nemechek. I mean, he might be at 4 something. I mean, it was just a great run altogether. And You really like, to me, those comments from Erik Jones. The first thing he led off with, it was great to see the 42 get a finish they deserve.
True.
That is camaraderie, and that is what Jimmy Johnson, these 27 millionaire investors that you've alluded to previously on the program, that is what they want to see. And I think it's only going to get bigger and better. We've heard a lot of this term of building their own notebook. I think the notebook's freaking built, man.
Yeah, it really is on some of these tracks, and great camaraderie with that team. And yeah, those were the two bets I hadn't mentioned yet that I hit. Jones plus 270 for a top 10. John Nemechek 10-1. Big time hits there. We love it. We'll talk more about some of the storylines that we had over the weekend, but it was an absolutely wild stage 2 today that we got to touch on. We were kind of talking before the race coming in that the last couple of years we've seen kind of a big one at Pocono, and we had that today. First, though, Zane Smith was having another great run. We wanted to touch on him. We've been talking about him and his speed a lot lately. Was sending it, trying to pass Denny Hamlin up in the front of the field, ends up losing it, spins out, crashes that car. They were able to get it back out and repair it in the garage, but still another kind of what if for the 38 team.
Yeah, it certainly is. He's someone we talked to yesterday. It feels like he likes this track, and like you gotta credit the kid for absolutely sending in there 3 wide. It wasn't a ballsy mistake. I think it was a ballsy move. Yes. Yeah. Was he going to land that? I'm not sure. You put Hamlin and you put, I think it was Larson or Byron or Elliott, one of the HMS guys, I think, on the outside. He throws it in there 3 deep. Looked like he was going to complete the pass, actually, get a little 2-for-1 action. Ultimately, though, he kind of preserves the 11's day and that HMS car on the outside of them, but by just kind of taking himself out there. So you hate to see that he couldn't save it. But one thing is for sure, Zane Smith is a wheelman. He is, in my opinion, if we're power ranking today, I would probably have him somewhere inside that top 20 as long as we're talking about pure speed. And then also, he is the best driver in this stable right now, and he, as silly season kind of continues to shake out, I would bet that this is a guy. If FRM does not lock him in long term, somebody should.
No doubt about it. Great driver there. I can tell you the HMS car, I'm not sure which one it was, but I know it wasn't the 48. That was pretty terrible day for Bowman there. Should have known better to not bet on him. Anyway, with Zane Smith, though, the one thing that worries me is this is 2 weeks in a row now where we've seen him running toward the front, having some speed, ends up losing control of the car and crashing out 2 weeks in a row. Whatever setup is going on there, I hope they don't change it just because of these 2 incidents, because clearly he's fast, but it's something. I guess we have 2 road courses coming up, but it's something to watch on the next oval that we get to see if that setup's any different, and hopefully doesn't take speed out of the car.
Yeah, I don't feel like I would take speed and occasionally wrecking. I know for Front Row, a budget tight organization, they don't like wrecked race cars. Obviously, that's not going to help them perform and stay within their budget year after year and week after week. However, putting yourself out there, getting those sponsors, that TV time, that is going to help. And we can't forget too, man, Zane Smith's a guy, kind of like Todd Gillen in the same way, he came from the truck series, right? A lot of veteran experience in truck, didn't spend a lot of time in the O'Reilly series. He would do some one-off starts, never had a full-time season there, so he's still getting used to the Cup series, still getting used to this next-gen car, but he's quickly become, in my opinion, one of the faster drivers out there, particularly in that Ford camp.
So stage 2 also featured the big one of the day situation where it was Austin Hill, SVG, Josh Berry kind of running back in the pack. I don't think Hill knew. I think it was Hill. I don't think he knew that he had 2 cars on the outside of him. A couple guys get in the wall. A couple more guys get hit and spin out. 9 total cars involved there. Knocked the 6 out for the day. Some damage to the 20 I know you saw. The 4 car also had to go back in the garage for an extended period of time. But again, it's weird that we see kind of a Pocono big one every year, but it's been happening here.
Yeah, it certainly does. They call it the tricky triangle for a reason. We also heard a lot on the broadcast today that the different compounds they've used over time have kind of created some uneven surfaces, specifically going into turn 2. So that is somewhere you're seeing people get a little sketchy. And then you're just getting some crowding coming off turn 3, right? Some people taking that way too high. Austin Hill, for honestly probably the best race he's had in a Cup Series car outside of some of these crazy Daytona runs. This was certainly that. He did crowd SVG, he did crowd Barry, and that really is what kind of led to their demise there today.
Before we go, we'll circle back on a couple of our Saturday storylines post P&Q. You touched a bit on Spire earlier, but Suarez, it was a solid day. P13, but he would have wanted some more. McDowell ends up P17. Hocevar qualified toward the back after nearly spinning out in qualifying. never really got that track position to stick, ends up running P20. He was on alternate strategies often, so that kind of is how that shakes out sometimes. RFK we touched on as well. The 60 ends up 28th. I know at times they ran better than that.
Yeah.
So the 60 ends up 28th, and the 6 wrecks out. So making that airbox change, neither of them ended up finishing all that well anyway. But Buescher was able to hold his top 10 track position and run 7th. Front row, again, we just finished talking about them. Todd Gilliland, first stage win of his career. He won stage 2 on fuel strategy there. Finished the race P19, and then as we discussed, the 4 and the 38 crashed. And we'll bring this full circle to the end of the race. Last thing we touched on was fading Christopher Bell, and even though he almost was able to pull off the fuel strategy, at the end of the day, the fade worked.
Yeah, and we should have been fading more. Again, I should have gone to the not to finish top 20 market. Not sure what that was looking like this morning. And I think it's something we're going to need to continue to do. Specifically next week, we are going to San Diego. I don't know where the books are going to come in because usually he has been the second favorite, and rightfully so, at road courses. If he's getting that type of respect from the books, I'm sorry, Christopher Bell. I love the guts. I love the determination out there. We heard him talk post-race too that when he was out there running laps and long green flag runs, it was not bothering him. On restarts, it was bothering him. I wouldn't even be surprised if maybe they go with another driver. Probably not, because he's going to want to be out there. He's going to want to score points and not put himself in a hole where he could potentially miss the playoffs. But it's going to be tricky for him out there. So I really don't know what else to do over the next couple weeks other than continue to bet against the number 20 car in head-to-heads and that not top 10, maybe not top 20 market, depending on the track.
I think we could see the sub-driver come into play if Bell really struggles at the next 2 road courses. I know today it was Brandon Jones. I don't know if Toyota has a dedicated road course guy. Mm-hmm. Like I know with Ford, anytime they're at a road course, they try to bring Joey Hand to be their sub.
Maybe a little Justin Bonsignor or something like that,
Maybe.
ripping out there.
I don't know if he's a big road course guy. I think he's more of a short
tracker. He's a good road course. He's been up there. I don't know what you're talking about. I've seen Justin Bonsignor ripping top. He might not have any top 5 finishes on road course, but he's been up there on top 5 road course. I know because I've had tickets on him.
All right, before we go off on a tangent, we'll wrap this up. San Diego going to be really exciting to watch next week. We're going to break that down, of course, in the back road. Thanks for tuning in to all of our content from Pocono. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, give us a like, and subscribe as well, because we got more Pocono content coming out that we haven't even really touched on yet. So we're excited to keep that rocking and rolling here on the back road.